Next, we're up on the city wall where the new recruits are getting trained hard by Hunter Iron Axe. Iron Axe suddenly grabs everyone's attention, and they snap to attention because the prince is here for an inspection. But it seems our prince has no clue what he's supposed to say during this inspection. He awkwardly starts walking up to a random soldier and decides to ask about their daily routine. With a friendly smile, he asks the soldier how he feels about the training and if he's been eating well lately. The soldier looks really nervous in front of the prince, while our prince seems to be copying something he saw on TV once. Out of nowhere, the soldier drops down to his knees, leaving the prince totally puzzled and kinda weirded out, wondering if he's missed something. Meanwhile, the soldier's got tears in his eyes. Not just him, but everyone's really moved that the prince came to check on them personally. The boy reaches out and tells the soldier to get back on his feet. It looks like all those good meals our hero fed them have really perked up the soldiers. Then the prince reminds everyone they can speak up if they have suggestions or complaints, and promises to make sure everyone gets enough to eat. Out of the blue, that shy kid from earlier pipes up. He says there aren't enough soldiers in their civilian army, and with the way they're training, he's worried they won't stand a chance against the demons when they attack. Whispers and murmurs start buzzing around, everyone thinking the same thing, and wonders if the prince plans to hire mercenaries to fight off demons. But our hero cuts them off with a hand gesture, and with a big grin, he asks the soldier for his name. The soldier Vanner replies nervously. Our hero gives Vanner props for his sharp eye, and agrees that relying solely on a civilian army to defend the entire wall doesn't not make any sense. However, he points out that demons are just mutated animals and beasts, not as smart as humans, and Iron Axe has proven this by taking on those monsters directly. Iron Axe nods in agreement, saying those creatures are exactly as the prince described, but he admits hybrids are a whole different ballgame, posing a tougher challenge altogether. The prince comes up with this idea to strategically place fences, ditches, and hills to guide the dumb beasts into traps they set up. He figures it'll work since these creatures are pretty simple-minded. Iron Axe still seems worried about getting too close to these beasts. He says spears and bows won't cut it against them if push comes to shove. Our hero smirks and agrees, knowing traditional weapons won't do the trick. That's why he's cooked up these new weapons that are more dependable than a whole squad of armored knights. The crowd's buzzing to see these new toys. We're out on the testing grounds, and suddenly there's this massive explosion that rattles the whole place. Our hero's over the moon that his gunpowder invention worked like a charm, but the others are just freaking out. Iron Axe even mutters something about this explosion being God's wrath. The explosion blows a big hole in the ground and even takes out the test rabbits in the process. The prince tells everyone to get up close and examine everything to gather test data. Our hero is pumped that they can create such a powerful weapon just by mixing a bunch of elements in the right ratio. With everything wiped out by the blast, the hunter suggests they wouldn't have to worry about monsters if they had this bad boy doing its job. But the prince reminds them they won't have enough gunpowder before the month of demons. Still, he's excited they can work around it, relying mainly on guns and crossbows, while keeping the gunpowder as their trump cards. In the next scene, Nightingale paints how the world looks to her, just black and white, with no clear boundaries. She navigates through paths that defy normal limits by shifting her perspective. Up, down, left, and right aren't fixed. They collide, break away, or overlap. Moving along these ever-shifting lines gives her a bird's-eye view, letting her swing through anything. Other than the black and white, she can also see some other colors as well. For example, witches are the essence of magic, and she can sense the magic flowing and fading within their bodies. In this world, only witches hold something truly amazing, and Anna's magic stands out with its vibrant, rich colors. Suddenly, Anna calls her out, and Nightingale appears back in the real world. When Anna asks what Nightingale was doing here, Nightingale smoothly changes the subject, mentioning she brought some fish cakes. Anna's face lights up with delight at the sight of these treats, but Nightingale hesitates, saying she needs to wash her hands first. Instead of water, Anna just uses her fiery powers to cleanse her hands, which impresses the women big time. That is when it hits Nightingale that Anna is the only witch in their group with such incredible powers. This realization fills her with both dread and sadness, knowing that such strong abilities come with risks. With the month of demons approaching, she worries about Anna enduring unimaginable pain during her puberty. Nightingale gently suggests that Anna should join the association, where other witches can support her. She assures Anna that everyone would be thrilled to have someone as powerful as her among them. But then Nightingale's tone turns serious as she admits to Anna that she might not make it through this winter. Anna then asks Nightingale where she lived before joining the association. Nightingale replies that she used to live in a big city to the east, not too far from the capital. Anna then follows up by asking if Nightingale was happy back then. Nightingale's mind immediately flashes back to her past, recalling herself feeling miserable, locked up with shackles and a power-suppressing locket. Instead of answering directly, Nightingale turns the question around and asks Anna why she wants to know. Anna opens up, sharing that she had a tough life in the slums of Border Town. Her father sold her to the church for 25 golden coins, and it was our hero who freed her from those chains. Now Anna feels genuinely happy to be where she is. Nightingale gently reminds Anna that leaving the castle isn't an option due to how witches are hated by others, but Anna remains optimistic, trusting the prince to change things for them. Suddenly, their chat gets cut off when Nana storms in, slamming the doors before her. She's in tears and rushes to hug Anna, blurting out that things are about to hit the fan for her. Meanwhile, our hero is deep in slumber, dreaming of heroic exploits, and that is when Nightingale rudely wakes him up. She's absolutely livid, informing the sleepyhead that Nana's father is on his way and suspects she's a witch. Shocked to hear Nana's secret is out, the prince rushes into action, hoping he now has a shot to keep Nana in the castle. He wonders how the nobleman will react when he finds out his daughter is a witch. Will he plead with the prince to let her stay and keep her secret? When our hero finally steps outside, reality is far from what he was imagining. Nana's dad is fuming, demanding the immediate return of his daughter. After they settle into their seats, Nana's restless father calls her over to him. The little girl gets scared and asks if he's planning to sell her to the church. The man gets all chummy, saying the church would never take someone as clueless as her, so she better return back to her father. But our hero steps in, reminding him that his daughter is a witch. The man flat out refuses to believe it, and even when Nana herself confirms that she is a witch, the father gets really mad and suggests maybe Teacher Carl is just labeling another girl as a witch. That's when our hero gives Anna a nod, signaling her to show off her fiery magic powers. She does it right away, leaving the old man stunned to see witchcraft in action. Our hero tells him to calm down and assures him they can explain everything. Eventually, the father starts to understand that his daughter is just here to practice her witch powers after all. But our hero feels creeped out by the implication that her father was thinking of him as a pedophile for calling little girls into the castle. The boy then gets down to business, pointing out that Nana has healing abilities that could be invaluable in Border Town during the months of demons, to aid in healing the injured. However, the dawning father, Mr. Pine, politely declines, concerned for his daughter's safety if she stays here. Our hero reveals that opportunities often come with dangers, mentioning that from what he's heard, Nana's grandfather and Mr. Pine's father were courageous knights. The Pine family's noble lineage comes from their grandfather's heroic deeds. Mr. Pine agrees, and proudly recalls how his father once faced down an incredibly powerful demon and actually defeated it. He even has the demon's massive horn hanging over his fireplace to prove it. But then our hero points out how the Pine family is not as prestigious as it was before. Pine family is just a working-class citizens now, to which the father sadly admits. He then notices Pine's rough, calloused hands, proof that Mr. Pine hasn't given up on his warrior spirit and still trains daily to sharpen his sword skills. So, he cleverly suggests that Pine join in defending the border, promising to grant him enough land to become a true noble. Despite this tempting offer, Pine isn't willing to take the risk and prefers to send Nana to Longsong Fortress rather than see her in harm's way. Our hero reminds him that Longsong Fortress isn't as safe as Border Town. The church has eyes and ears everywhere there. If the truth about Nana gets out, not even he could protect her. He promises to prepare a small boat for a quick retreat to Longsong in case of trouble, ensuring Nana and Anna's safety. Finally, the old man puts his faith in the prince, nodding respectfully and pledging his loyalty to fight for our hero's cause. Everyone breathes a sigh of relief and smiles, but Anna pouts, showing her anger toward our hero for even considering sending her away. She makes it crystal clear that she's not going anywhere. The next day, the old constable shows up looking really worried that they've blown all their money on weapons and army training. He's fretting that if things keep going like this for a few more months, everyone's going to starve for sure. The boy facepalms himself and gives him permission to use his savings for their budget. The old man agrees but grumbles it won't solve their long-term problems. Our hero shrugs and says if the defenses fail, they'll evacuate the town as soon as possible, then sends the old man off to do as he's told. Once the constable's gone, the boy feels pretty crushed after draining every last penny he'd saved up, and if the border defenses still fail, he's screwed. Then his mood perks up when Nightingale shows up again. The woman immediately points out that he had lied to the old man about leaving the town. The prince immediately admits his lie, because he does not want to spread distress among the already terrified townspeople. Nightingale advises him to spend his time with Anna instead of stressing over politics. She shares her fear that Anna might not be around much longer, but the boy insists she will survive, because she has promised to beat those demons at all costs. Nightingale wonders how he can trust a witch cursed by demons. The boy just shrugs and says he believes in her, and further points out that he also trusts Nightingale as well. The woman just stares at our hero's poker face and realizes he's not lying. He casually points out that he doesn't lie without a good reason. Suddenly, they hear a commotion outside. Nightingale glances out the window and gets visibly anxious, noting that it's snowing. Winter has arrived. The boy decides to check on Hunter Ironaxe and his progress. At the shooting range, Ironaxe is using the guns and hitting bullseye after bullseye. The prince shows up and asks about the training. Ironaxe lights up like a kid, enthusiastically mentioning that he's nailed all the basics he was taught. The prince isn't surprised, because being a warrior through and through, Ironaxe has been able to master any weapon given to him. The man praises this iron pipe of the gods for its insane power. He grits his teeth, saying if he had this pipe when he fought that hybrid monster, it wouldn't have stood a chance. Ironaxe drops to his knees, overwhelmed that the prince entrusted such devastating power to a humble hunter like him, and promises not to let his prince down. The prince then checks in with his chief knight, Carter, asking how things are going. The knight looks a bit serious, and mentions they could really use more than just the 2 guns they have. Our hero gets it, and assures him that 2 more guns are already in the works, and should be ready soon. He admits they rushed the gunpowder development because the months of demons are finally here. I'm starting to feel like this comic is turning into a manhwa version of Game of Thrones. Anyway, once he climbs up the city wall, the soldiers greet the prince right away. Seeing them bow their heads makes our hero feel sheepish, wishing he had taught them some proper military etiquette. The hunter points out that there aren't many demons after the first snow, but our hero tells him to stay cautious regardless. Suddenly they catch a sight of something, and there they see a demon in a distance. The soldiers start to panic, and one of them even asks if they should sound the alarm. Our hero tells the soldier to decide for himself, since he has more experience after their training. Finally, the soldier decides not to sound the alarm and puts his bow down. Our hero is relieved to see that his training of these soldiers is paying off, because dealing with the presence of the demon should be handled with caution instead of acting on impulses. The beast starts walking toward the wall, picking up momentum. The prince squints his eyes and gazes closely, wondering if it's a mutated fox. The hunter agrees, pointing out that the animal has recently been possessed, so it's not that threatening. The wolf gears up to jump over the wall, and the hunter quickly gets ready for the attack. Chief Knight Carter steps forward, shielding the prince. Just as the beast lunges at them, the hunter lets loose an arrow that flies through the air and instantly brings down the beast. The prince peers down to see the creature lying dead on the ground. The knight lets out a sigh of relief that they avoided a close encounter. Meanwhile, our hero notices the strange black blood and can't help but wonder why it's like that. He's also puzzled about why witches can snap out of demonic influence, but these animals can't. Curiously, the boy asks if someone bitten by a demon could turn into a mindless ghoul. The hunter immediately dismisses the idea, saying there's no such thing as ghouls. Our hero breathes a sigh of relief, glad he won't have to deal with a zombie apocalypse. He then asks if the meat is edible. The knight started to freak out upon hearing this, and questions why the prince would consider eating cursed meat. The hunter agreed, recalling how he once fed a chunk of demon flesh to hunting dogs, which led to their deaths immediately. The boy sighs in disappointment, thinking it's a total waste of good meat. Both the knight and hunter are shocked that the prince was actually considering eating it, but our hero immediately reminds them how scarce food has gotten, and it would have been great if they were able to chow down on the meat they were about to hunt down. Suddenly, a soldier barges in, blurting out that someone's hurt. Apparently, it's not one of the regular guards, but a worker from the northern mines.